Oh, good bio. Who wrote that? All right. Thank you, Carolina. And thank you, Steve. Okay, as Carolina mentioned in my bio, I grew up in Las Vegas. I was born in Phoenix, though, so I can't consider myself a native, but I'm very close because I came here in 1991. So it's a lot longer than the majority of people who breeze in and breeze out. So I do have a very vested interest in Las Vegas, in the community, and in the real estate community in particular. And that's part of the reason why my real estate business has been so, I've been fortunate to have such a great real estate business because I grew up here in Las Vegas and I have a solid source of referrals and client base. It sounds kind of like what we say here at LeTip, a solid source of referrals for our spheres of influence. So after I graduated high school, I went into banking. I worked at B of A for 5 years. And I met all these realtors who were depositing like these amazingly large checks back in 2003, 2004. I'm like, what do you possibly do to deposit on a regular basis, 8,000, 10,000, 12,000? What is the, and it was real estate. It was the boom times. It was the crazy appreciation that we had in 2003, 4, and 5. And so I started thinking, maybe I need to check this out because it seems pretty interesting with the kind of money that can be made without a college education. Interesting. So my cousin was already a real estate agent. He suggested that I join the company that he was with. It was a small company called Platinum Properties, GMAC, not even there anymore. I got my license in 2004, January, and I quickly moved to a company called Realty Executives where I joined a team. And I was a buyer's agent for my first 3 years of real estate. So I joined a team that was already established, who already had a website generating leads and lots of listings in town. So I learned from this team, and I learned by getting the leads that came in from the website and from the listings, and I got very good at working with buyers. But eventually, we need to expand. Every fish grows. If they're in a bowl that's too small, they need to have their own environment. So I went on my own shortly after I felt the proficiency with working with buyers, and I created my own team. It's called Living Real Estate, and I'm at Keller Williams Realty. So I've been at Keller Williams since 2006, and I have a small team that I run. I work with buyers and sellers, and I have a buyer agent, and we have an assistant as well. And I want to take this very basic today and just explain what we actually do as real estate agents. And it might seem very obvious, but we do two main things. We help buyers buy houses, and we help sellers sell houses. It's very simple, but there are several nuances that are not widely known. I want to just describe some of those nuances of how we work with buyers and how we work with sellers. So let's talk about buyer representation first. When you think of a real estate agent helping you buy a home, you probably think of him or her driving you to a house and unlocking the door with their special magic key, and that's the value they bring to you is being able to access the house. Like, we need to get in to see a house, so we need to get a realtor. With the technology nowadays available on the internet, you don't really need a real estate agent to help you search for houses because Zillow is almost as good as the MLS. MLS stands for Multiple Listing Service, and that's only available to real estate agents. So as good as Zillow and Trulia are, they still are not the same as the MLS, and we are the only ones as licensees who have access to the actual data where Zillow and Trulia pull all their data from. So there are lots of glitches in the data transfer process. So Zillow and Trulia have lots of good info, but they don't have always accurate info and always timely info. A lot of times the properties will show as available online to the general public, and they're not. They already have multiple offers, this and that. So when we look at resale or used homes, we call them resale. Used doesn't quite sound as shiny or nice or sexy. So resale homes, we look at the MLS system, and we have the ability to have timely, instantaneous data. In the world of resale homes, we have several different types. Traditional equity sales. That's where homeowner owns the house, they have equity in the house, and they're selling to a buyer as a traditional sale. We hope to always work with those kinds of sales because they're usually the easiest, but that's not always the case, especially in Las Vegas. We also have short sales and REOs. Short sales is simply selling a house short of what is owed. That's where the term short sale comes from. And it's a long process. It's a long sale called a short sale, selling the house short of what is owed. REO stands for real estate owned. It's an accounting line item term that the banks use when they repossess a property. So an REO is a bank-owned house. It's a house that's owned by the bank. I don't call them foreclosures. We shouldn't even use the word foreclosure because that's an ambiguous term. That's a process that can last between 120 days and 5 years. Call them bank-owned houses or REOs. That's when a bank is selling the house to the public. And then we have the world of new homes. And this is a great area for a lot of consumers also. They don't know that real estate agents have a big part to play in new home sales. The new home builder has a sales agent who will be glad to take you into her office or his office and take you around the shoulder and show you the houses and the big beautiful models and sell you a home. They work for the builder. They're the builder's representative. A lot of the public don't know that having a real estate agent represent them is very important because I, as a general realtor, represent the buyer, not the builder. The builder's agent represents the builder and looks out for the builder's best interest, and of course makes you feel like they're representing you, but they're not. They're representing the builder. So in new homes, it's important to have a general real estate agent represent you. It doesn't cost the buyer any more. The seller pays the commission, and it's a help. All right, now in the world of selling houses. Traditional sales, I work with, and short sales. Traditional sales are the mom and pop regular equity sales, and then of course short sales is where we negotiate with the bank, and some of us in here have done that, and we ask the bank to take less than what is owed. And 9 times out of 10 they do, and 95% of the time they waive the remaining balance. And those are becoming fewer and farther between. All right, so we're about 2 minutes? Okay, before I open up to questions, just a couple pieces of hard data that you can take away with you. The median price of a house is $215,000. $215,000 for a single family detached house. That's the median price. To buy a home like that with an FHA loan, FHA is the Federal Housing Administration loan, the down payment is $7,500, closing costs are $7,500. So it's $15,000 out of your pocket to buy the median price home. The payment breaks down, principal and interest, $987 a month. $987 a month, principal and interest, that's real. Taxes are about $175, insurance is $50 a month, mortgage insurance $185. Your payment is about $1,400 a month with today's interest rate for the median priced home. That's with $15,000 out of your pocket. And sometimes the seller can pay half of that for you. On an investor property, if you're buying a house to rent out and hold as a long-term investment, 20% down is required. So take the same purchase price of $215,000, the 20% down payment is $43,000. That's the minimum down required for an investor. Principal and interest on that is only $871 a month. Taxes, insurance, HOA comes to about $1,130 a month for an investor property, median sales price. $1,130 a month is the payment. The rent price is $1,200 a month for the average home. Buying and holding for a long-term investment is a rock-solid investment in Las Vegas. Much better than trying to flip. Buy and hold is a very, very good strategy. Okay, go ahead.
About 30 seconds.
Okay, any questions? Yes, Chris.
I'm thinking about buying a investment property up in Utah, up in Brian Head. I know you're licensed here to rent that, so is there a referral?
Yes, we have a Keller Williams office in St. George who services Brian Head. They're wonderful units, probably a townhouse or a condo.
Yeah,
ski resort. It's awesome. Yeah, Keller Williams has an office that does that. Okay. Oh,
So if you want to buy an additional home, you want to hold your current home, is there?
it depends if you're going to occupy it or not. If you're going to occupy the home, the new home as a primary, you can do an FHA loan or a very low down payment loan. But if you're not going to occupy it, the lender needs you to put much more down because it's more of a risk if you're not going to live there and care for it.
Is there ways around that?
Talk to Paul Turner. Talk to Paul Turner. Thank you.